Today is Thursday, November 10th, 2011, and this is the start of an interview with Mr. Leon J. Wright at the RSVP Offices of Catholic Services in Macomb, located at 26238 Ryan Road, Warren, Michigan. Mr. Wright is 57 years of age and was born March 14, 1954. Mr. Wright currently resides at 13120 Canterbury, Detroit, Michigan, 48205. My name is James Buckley, and I will be the interviewer, and Marilyn Berlicki will be the videographer today. Okay, Mr. Wright, would you, for the record, please state the branch of, or in your case, branches of service that you served in.
I like the way you put that. You had the plural in there, but that's
exactly.
Branches. You are correct. United States Army, Michigan Army National Guard, United States Air Force Reserves, and / active duty for United States Air Force.
Okay, quite a bit of service to our country. So,
Right.
Leon and I chatted just briefly before we started our interview, and so if you would now kind of give us just a brief overview of your youth up through high school and until you got into the service, and how and why you did such a thing.
Well, as a child, Detroit born native, I had no choice in some of these decisions, so I'll let you know where the parents stood in. My father and mother both in Detroit. My father picked up a job in Chicago through Walgreens, and so we had to relocate to Chicago for his job. While we were there, my mom was hired through the Cook County Sheriff's Office as a deputy sheriff. My dad went to tell me about his days in the Army as a drill sergeant. As I learned about military, I ended up picking up some mentors. So through my elementary school, through St. Raphael School in Chicago, and then on the way up to De La Salle High School, which is Mayor Daley's school, to both Daley's, and then the current mayor, they I think just changed and they have a new one there. I went to De La Salle 35th and Wabash. I went there for 4 years, but I learned in my early years about a young man by the name of Milton Olive, Chicago-born young man who saved his team, who jumped on a grenade and saved the lives of all the troops. That story resonated with me. My father just said, you know, you probably could use some time in the Army, son. Just keep you out the drugs, keep you out of the crime, keep you out of the dangers of Chicago. When I come out of high school, I wasn't ready for that yet. I'm the only son. So right before senior year, I received a draft card with a 1H classification. That's the white card. And it was still in the Vietnam era, peace part of it, if you will. They kept up with me through my high school days, but they would not let me in. Because being the only son then, I could not come in, and plus I didn't finish high school. But they wanted me out as soon as I come out of high school. And my dad wasn't for that. So they didn't approve me to go in. So I went to college at Lewis University, Lockport, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And did a couple years of college there. 1976 was my military career start. I signed myself in through MEPS Chicago. And we're going to talk about MEPS Chicago because I'm going to take you back to where I did my first commercial at MEPS Chicago for the United States Army, Be All You Can Be. So that took me to basic training in Fort Bliss, Texas. First thing I did was to get out of Chicago. Never been out of Chicago. Never been off the ground. Just stayed in Chicago. But I've always watched the planes at City Airport, like Detroit. But this is Midway Airport in Chicago. Planes attracted me. They just did. So I said, I had to find out more about this. I went to the Army, ended up going to Air Defense Artillery. I ended up firing at the planes. That's a little backwards, but the only job they had open at the time, and that was what I learned. So I learned about the rocket system, flying system, went into White Sands, New Mexico, and learned about a lot of the avionics side of it as enlisted, not commissioned. I never went in commission side. I missed a lot of the doors because I only had some college. You need to have the associates to go into OCS. And I didn't complete that yet. So I missed some things there. And I missed doors because of it. So every time I applied for OCS, I missed another door, either too old or too didn't have this grade. My grades were not always the best. I'm no cum laude, by no means. That held me back. The part I wanted to go in the Air Force, I couldn't go in. My grades were too low. ASVAB. I took the ASVAB 4 times just to get in the Army alone. Because I had something, to watch this, that did not diagnose until the Army figured out right when I came out. Dyslexia. And dyslexia, you get things backwards or slow or whatever. But my high school De La Salle detected it in typing class. My senior year, I could never get the alphabets in the right order. So my teacher said, I'm going to fail you. His name is Brother Thaddeus. I'll never forget him. I'm going to fail you. My mom had a fit. You can't fail him. He's going to, another city. He's got to move on. You can't do that because she had some plans, some things she wanted me to do. So I could not go on until I passed that class. I almost had to do summer school. But the good Lord helped me pass that class. When I finally passed that class, I was able to move on. But it never left me why I could never get those letters right. I could type, but that JUJ and JFJ and ASB, they would end up in a reverse order. And I had a very particular teacher. So going into the Army, they noticed my reading scores were a little weird, not consistent. Tested me, and tested me, and tested me, and tested me, and tested me. I probably had them rewrite tests because of me. Because my learning skills, I'm a hands-on learner. Army then was duplication, repetition, over and over and over, and learning. So my hands-on, not a problem. I fired everything they put in front of me. I used everything they gave me. But reading, comprehension, and memory, I just had to apply what I could. So as I still continued on through military, that was been like a little headache to me as education and learning. But I was determined never to give up and quit. During my active duty days, I learned the photolithographer, MOS, which is 83 Foxtrot. In the Army, I was a 16 Papa, which is chaparral, red-eye crewman, driver, and gunner. Also went over to that, and then when I got through with photolithographer, I learned 71 Lima. 71 Lima is admin. 71 Lima is learning, taking that photolithographer and learning how to do a layout. First time I heard about Microsoft, period. I wasn't a technology person. Keep in mind, I'm not a good typist. But that's when I started to learn about that, composing and comprehension, and TV started coming to my wall then, because then I had to learn how to do things with those pictures. So I learned about movies and just the basics of stuff. I think WordStar was the software I was learning, and another one called Enable that the Army had. No clue what to do with it, just learning it. So as I began to use that more, I knew when I came out in '84, that's what I did, I lasted all the way through '84, I needed to find something to do. So my dad says, hey, you went to college. When you going to school? Good point. Went right up to Lewis University, which was in Lewis College. It was at the Romeo Airport, right outside Romeoville. The Lockport's like on the outskirts of Joliet. Spent 2 years there. Learned to do mail, learned to do admin, learned to do printing, drove a vehicle for a short period of time, did my first radio classes on location, did my first radio show there, picked up an FCC license, which I have in my pocket here, the old green one. I have the real one here with me, plus my current one, which I still have a license today. Learned about radio. Matter of fact, I was able to have a DJ come in that did some mentoring with me at our station WVON, I think in Chicago. And they were at our college talking about radio. That's where my career started to mold a little bit into communications and broadcasting. Learning how to monitor, learning how to record, and learning the headphones and microphones and the tools of the trade, if you will. As I noticed these building blocks begin to accrue, there was another phase of it. During '84 to '86 window time frame, I had to learn other things to do. Let me back up a time frame here and just put it in the right perspective. The time frame from '73 to '76 is Lewis University. That's where the school frame is. 84 to 86 is in El Paso, Texas. The why I connect the two is because they're both so similar. The college was in Lewis University in Lockport, but there's college in El Paso, Texas, which takes me to stage 2. There I was the program director. So what I learned back here at Lewis University, I put to work at El Paso Community College as the program director. There, I learned more specifically media and radio and trades. I worked there as doing different parts in communications. This is between my military career, but I learned how to record, how to interview. I hosted a show that I do have the tape for it, a college show on location for hosting one of the artists there named Cecile Noel. Her name is backwards. My name's Leon, right? Her last name was Noel. Well, what scenario is there? But she was a beautiful Hispanic singer there, and I started to really learn my career is going to be in communications area. But then things happen.
Before we get to that point, Leon, when did you end up at Fort Campbell and so forth?
Fort Campbell ended up in 1977, 78, 79 window.
Okay,
from Fort Bliss to Fort Hood to Fort Campbell. So that put it right at 78, 79 into 80.
So you went to jump school and so forth
Yes.
in that time?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to use that training
You bet.
in the service?
You bet. The 101st. The 101st. Let me tell you this part of it. I was afraid of heights. You think the flying took care when I left Fort Bliss, flying out of Detroit. Flying out of Chicago to hotel. Nah, that didn't take me. That just made me start. Oh, this is fun. You had to climb and run and turn and twist, and I had brothers and sisters around me that grew up to tussle and beat me up, except in the high schools and those kinds of things. So Fort Campbell was a challenge because I had to run quite a bit. You're running close to 3 to 5 miles per day.
Yeah.
I'm a little thin guy, okay? I wore out some folks that should have lasted a lot longer than me, but the school was designed to teach confidence, to teach teamwork, to teach mobility, to teach rescue and safety. And that's what Fort Campbell did, endurance side of it. I met some good friends there, Big West Gary, who's the base chaplain at the time. He was a colonel. He's a mentor of mine. Big guy, big black guy. He had been through Vietnam and quite a few other missions. But he had every kind of medal on his body to teach me some things. And he went with me every single day to Air Assault School, all the way to graduation, all 13 days. All 13 days, Big West Gary. My commander was the Pete Dawkins, Heisman Award, pull up his name, you'll find out, and he was a colonel then. He taught me the sports side of things in a strange way. I'm a little young guy. He had this Heisman sitting on his desk, it's all wooden round. What is the kid gonna do? See something, wow! Touch, right? You touch it, you lose it. I lose what? Your fingers. Your body oils get into that type of wood and it doesn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
But since you like to touch stuff, you can clean it for me. When you come in here, I'm a little private, don't tell her I'm not going to clean stuff. Yeah, well, admin job, that's something you kind of do, make sure there's a little office and we made the coffee and do those things. That was part of your job as admin. So what better deal to come in and cook? Man, I didn't miss a day coming in. Let me shine up, get out of here. I wanted to shine just, once I found out what the Heisman was, I didn't know anything about no football. I didn't know folks in the sports field. But that opened another door. Because who do I meet in the airport down the road? Ran right smack into him. And I started to learn about Gale Sayers. I watched that movie, Brian's Song. Mm-hmm. By the way, one of my favorite movies was Sergeant York. We watched it in elementary school, I watched it in high school, and just kind of just sat back there. But there was a great name of Walter Payton, red hair and all. I was going through O'Hare Airport on my way to Germany. Turn the corner, and O'Hare is corners, out of corners. On my way to the lower section, to the back side, turn the corner, ran right smack into him. I was running, and I was doing like those O.J. Simpson commercials you saw years ago, you run to the airport. I literally did that. Bam! Knocked me right down. What did I hit? His wife picked me up. Oh, that's my husband.
Yeah.
Who is he? And that's when I heard his name. He had a nice big red head and everything. And he just laughed. That's just... That's all I had breath left to do. So, it didn't register until I hopped on the plane. I literally, physically ran into the great Walter Payton. That resonated. I like to meet people that shake their hands and hug them, not run into them. So, that, another nugget of my life. But, when you run into people and you literally physically meet them, they kind of sit as little mentors. And that's what has happened to me. Each reason that you do something, it builds up later on. So, I come to find out he was one of the football players. And my days of now having to come back to Chicago, from Chicago to Detroit, because my mother got sick, my father got sick, and he got really sick. I was on my way to Germany. My next stop from Fort Campbell, Kentucky was Germany. I had a mission to Korea by Germany. I ended up in a city called Gießen. Gießen is about an hour out of Frankfurt. Lower southern, little southern area. Not down in the Bavarian area, but we'll talk about that one next. That was my next assignment. Learning and doing admin things, learning about overseas, traveling a longer flight, really taught me to appreciate flying all the more. That's 28 hours flying. Man, I'm starting to love it. I wasn't claustrophobic. I wasn't afraid of the height. We sit at 33,000 or better, because we did go up to 34, 35 because the weather changed out and all those kind of things. Crossing Greenland and all. The more I did flying, the more I liked it. And that's what kind of resonated with me again. Some things have some changes. Not knowing what's on the horizon. Not knowing what's on the horizon. Once my dad got sick, I had to come back across that water again to come back to Chicago. And I was there for 84. He passed shortly before I come out. Matter of fact, around 83. And that took me out. That really, I'm through the military because I wasn't here but a few days with him and he passed. So I stayed with my mom, 84, 85, 86 was Texas. I had to finish something up out of Texas and then come back for 86, 87, 88. That's when recovery time for my dad was at 85, 86, 87. Window was, I knew he was sick, but I didn't spend a lot of time with him. I missed that time. So by the time 87 hit, 88 window, that's when he really got sick and that's when he was gone. So that's a gap there of my life. I really didn't do anything, just go through that with my mom. Desert Shield, right before Desert Shield hit, I was working for Channel 2 as security guard. And the United Negro College Fund, I just first heard about it at Metro Youth Day. Now you're going to come into the community service side. And I have to add a community service event before that. I don't forget it. It's right at the 86 window. 84, 86, I forgot that. While I was there at Channel 2.
This is in Chicago or Detroit?
No, it's here. It's here in Michigan.
In Detroit. Okay.
Right. But while I was at 84, 86 window, Hands Across America came in. You ever heard of that? Where I made with Nelson and all that. I did Hands Across America project. I enjoyed that, volunteering. And I was the coordinator area for Dallas area where I was at. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I have a hat, so I have a little hat there. One other thing came up, the movies. And I gotta put that in there because there are two commercial things I need to slip right there while I'm just dumping. Nick Nolte, I'm sure you've heard the name. Extreme Prejudice. 1984, 5. We're sitting at a radio station there called KXCR. KXCR is FM 107.5, somewhere. I think I called it as 4. I was one of the first DJs from Chicago area to turn that station live on the air. Well, while I'm on this jazz station, while I was on the air, their field group called in and said they're looking for some extras for Extreme Prejudice. Yeah, right. I'm not a movie actor. I don't know anything about that. They came in, heard me on the air, they liked the air, my air path, what's going on, and enjoyed it. Muscular dystrophy, MDA, Jerry Lewis Telethon, was just there a few months prior because it was right at Labor Day. I worked there or volunteered at El Paso International Airport for the telethon, and I did the roofathon. So that's how these guys got my name. Somebody from that remember me for that. Well, that's not filming, just I was there all day, all night doing a radio show. So they put the two together, and that's how I ended up in Extreme Prejudice with the note as a non-speaking, but an extra. So we shot for 3 days at El Paso International Airport for that. I had 2 little snippets in the movie. But hey, it's a movie. Perfect. The next thing to come along was, watch this, the BRUB commercial came up. That resonated at, let me put it right time frame for it. 19 is before Extreme Prejudice. Watch this. It resonated right before 19, right, because still in uniform in the Army. I want to say 79, so I got to insert it. See, those little pieces come together.
Right.
So we shot that on location at MEP Chicago because I was there at the time, 81. There it is. Block, 81 window. While we were there, BRB came out. So this general come up with Promises to be Kept, which is a promotional thank you for all recruiters, for the command, for that commercial and how it became so popular and it resonated and all this and that. I'm in that commercial, and I brought it with me so you can see it. I never knew they were going to put what we shot for 3 days in Chicago, at MEP Chicago, in that commercial that went national. You figure these little nuggets are pieces. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You just start putting the little pieces together. They're just amazing, because as I look back and look at what I'm doing now, each one had a purpose. Let me take you up, move you up a little bit more, and something else coming out, just park it in there. We should be looking at somewhere around 1988 window time frame. Desert Shield hit. I'm sitting at Michigan Army National Guard, which is in Oak Park. Then the Armory, before they took the building down. Remember the big long red building right next to the bakery?
I didn't live in this area at that time, but
okay,
no.
maybe I don't know if any of you were, but that's where it was located at. A nice big long tank in front of it, and bakery sitting behind it. That's where I did the Michigan Army National, the 182nd Field Artillery. While I was there, we ended up doing Desert Shield and getting called up. And my job for Desert Shield was AWOL. That's not good. Because when you go out with AWOL, you're fully loaded with weapons. You have a Jeep, state police, the sheriff, Detroit PD unless you're going to Detroit, or Park PD, you do whatever city you go in, that's the PD that's with you. And I happen to have to go into Detroit. Well, this guy who I had to go after was a cook. He ended up being a friend of mine. Chaplain, myself, and 2 other officers went. I knocked on the door. It was Johnson. I know. Johnson, Charles. Yes. Come out. No. Yes. That's why I'm here. I gotta take you with. I'm not coming out. Charles will come back again. It'll be with a loaded weapon. Gotta come out. So wait. He opens the door. This is a good guy. his wife comes out. She's 9 months. She's getting ready to deliver. He wasn't coming to work because she was due to deliver, and he wasn't going to war. So the chaplain and I talked real quick. I said, let's do something for this guy, because he's a good guy. So I know that's why I came. I know he was coming to get. The deal with me is I'm a sergeant. That's my job. I have to do what I got to do. The chaplain's there, like, okay, if you don't do it, he's the one who signs the papers off for AWOLs. If they're reasonable. He was a good case for it. What happened was, we had to take him in. I had to make a promise. I made a promise to him. I said, Charles, I'm going to take you to the command, and you know me. And I'm going to bring you back home. You're not going nowhere. And I'm not even the commander. But the Lord told me to tell him that. Do you know the chaplain signed off on him? Cleared him. Wife delivered. He stayed. We put him out on an honorable discharge. Not for dereliction of duty or bad conduct. None of that. It's because of his wife. So we got him cleared to field grade Article 15 for being AWOL. Got him down to a non-punishable. Signed him right out. His wife delivered. I saw him later on, and he came and hugged me. He said, man, I wouldn't have made it. I said, no, that's just the way things turned out. Next thing I know, he passed. But because of that, sometimes it just never leaves you. But that was my mission for Desert Storm. Desert Shield, rather. Desert Storm was a transition point because of one went into the other one. When that happened was after that mission I had put in for the Air Force sometime before. Well, that paperwork finally caught up with the other one. Says, here, we're going to open it for this specific MOS that you have now, which is an admin. We need you over in the Air Force side if you want to come in. You're great to find. We'll sign you right in. Yeah, right. You know, you hear stuff sometimes like, it doesn't happen. Sure enough, that's the way it happened. Carl Levin had to intercede at some point. And I'm going to tell you how he interceded. When the order came back down, it came back through his office. And I didn't know that. But that's how I found out it's a presidential order through my command. He said, man, you must have some friends somewhere. I said, I don't know anything about it. And it was him. But watch the connection. Detroit Metro Youth Day started back in 1984, I think. 83. In Warren. Right in the city. You ever heard Ed Deep? He's on Hoover and right in Mount. Well, he's the one who put it together. He's a reservist also from Air Force. And I've been with him ever since then, since 86. Well, Carl Levin's been with him all along. I didn't know them two know each other. What's going on? I didn't know Ed pieced that. Somehow that pieced. All those little pieces pieced together. But what happened was me getting the inter-theater transfer to Army to Air Force was the first. When that happened, I ended up staying here, but then I had to go to Lackland to go to training for Air Force. So the transition happened there to my MOS then, which ended up not going admin because the Air Force only changed to the same area, but they put me in what you call the 29 maps, which is packing and crating or shipping. The AFSC, I can't even call it, I think it's 2T now. It's transportation side of it. But what that is, and I had a patch on my other jacket, it has the helicopters, the crates, the blood services for Air Force, blood services from American Red Cross. I have a Red Cross shirt on, by the way. I can show you if you want to see it. Covers. That's how they get the blood services from through Air Force. We pick them up, actually take them, we ship them, we crate them, right ourselves and fly them. That was my job. So I learned that. I learned logistics. But I ran to the pilots of the 63rd. When I think about the 63rd, they're the ones that fly all the battles. They're the ones that go all the places. They're the ones that, if it's flying, they're in it. So a lot of them start teaching me about flying. But I can't go to officers training school because I'm now out of the ballpark. I can't go to officers training school because I missed the windows for all the other little pieces. I would have to have been in the Air Force flight avionics school way back here. So they started spending some time with me, put me in that KC-130, the cargo, the C-130, the KC-135, the F-16, and all of the different parts of flying I started to learn. The mapping. I already knew a lot of Army, the coordinates, and from firing systems. and they learned how to teach me how to do certain things within flying, but I still had to go through some classes to learn control mechanisms. So it says, get your joystick and start practicing. And that's what I did, and they taught me certain things that I would practice on. And that's where that flying stick comes in handy at. I'm sure I'm using it now. But because of the learning of flying from the pilots, going into aircrafts and doing things with them, I picked up the flying skill. But I had to stay enlisted, and I still couldn't go officer side of the house. So that bothered me, because that's what I really wanted to do, officer. Watch this. At year 2000, the Michigan Civil Air Patrol come along, and I met them at Salvation Building 302. I was in 301 with the 927 Air Refueling Wing. And I was there from 91 through my duration of 2002. The Michigan Civil Air Patrol was different. It was for the cadets, the youth program, the flying program, and the enlisted can be officers. That's why the officer transition. Right there. Another piece to me, if you will. But there, you have to be a major, you have to be a lieutenant, you have to be an officer to be a leader for the youth. What was their mission? Flying, teaching 12-year-olds to 16 how to be pilots. So what classes I had to learn to teach? Flying. So they go for FAA, they get their license at age 21. But they take all their solo classes all the way from 12 to 16 through Michigan Civil Air Patrol or Civil Air Patrol, period. You can go online and find out about that. But that's where I learned a lot of my tactical, aeronautical training, and educational base from these classes and nuggets. We're at, from 2000 all the way to 2002, I come out from the Air Force side. There's a way I can get points for being in the Civil Air Patrol. I didn't take them. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give to the community, and that's what I did in Civil Air Patrol. These tapes here are from different points. I'm going to put them in here from different times within this picture here of recording. And I'm going to talk about those because I haven't really touched on the part of the recording yet, but there are time dates on them, and you'll see someone have actual dates on. The 87 I didn't put in for the window. That, again, here is with, this first one right here is with Carol Guest. So let me add this in before I forget, from the avionics side to another part before I go down to my next part here. Because I have to talk about college next. And that's it. Carol Guest, I don't know if you ever heard of her. This one has to do with Mason, with WGLB. These two go together. Here's Carol Guest here. And if you know what Carol Guest is, this is 1990, by the way. She's Miss USA. Back in 1990. Remember the name? Okay. Michigan. This is her interview from Gospel Showcase. And we can listen to some of that if you would like to. These are the different showcases, and I've had 3 of them that I produce myself. And these are segues of Wright and the actual airdrops from them. So if you'd like to have a snippet of those, we can do that. And also the video drop that I brought for the Be All You Can Be. Back in 2002, I still, after I come out of the reserves, and most of my job in reserves, just capture that, from 91 to 2002, had to do a combination of 3 main AFSCs. Packaging, crating, information management, and services. Well, let me take it also with logistics and transportation. That takes in 5 areas. Lackland Air Force Base down in Texas was very intricate to that San Antonio area, to one of the AFSCs. But keep in mind, I had to go to Keesler Air Force Base for another AFSC. I had to go to Shepherd Air Force Base for another AFSC. 3 assignments alone just in Texas, and all 3 for different AFSCs. Keep in mind, my Army training was also where? Texas, El Paso. That's 7 assignments out of the great city of Texas. So that's very uncommon, but I spent your government money well. So don't send a bill. I'm a product of all that training. But that gives you just a very much snapshot to where I'm at right now. and how it all comes together. The teaching side of me, which has come through all of this, and we'll grab you a little snapshot. While at Selfridge, I picked up a class called TQM, Total Quality Management. Deming from Xerox, way back in the day, created this program, sold it to Air Force. Air Force was under restructure. Whenever you restructure, you have to reformat or change the paradigm. Since we had to change the way of doing business, if you will, the team concept, I was asked to facilitate the class. And Stephen wasn't teaching it, to facilitate when they had to go to breakout sessions. But I'd also know how to teach class too when the teacher wasn't there. So I had to do both. But that taught me a lot. How the smallest, littlest airman, airwoman if you will, the E1, is just as important as the O-15, the commanding general. Every little piece counts. Every little person counts. Every little idea counts. That resonated with me in doing teamwork dynamics now. Because I take what a child tells me about flying, a little small idea, when you turn a joystick, because they're used to gaming. Kids love gaming. They just love that. But I take the flying concept that I learned, the way I learned, apply it to the gaming program that the kids are learning now, teach them the basics of science, the aeronautical side, the speed, the race, the fuel, the distance, the cargo, the payload, and all the fine-tuning areas, and show how you use that now in a daily application. They grow. Not as a game, but as a drone. Because a drone, I don't think you know what a drone is, a plane in another country, in another location. Well, if I can take it a little closer than that, BP did that same idea with the subs underneath the water to fix the leak 1 year ago. Well, Air Force has been doing a drone program for years. And if you notice this lately with this war we've had with Iraq, more drones have taken out targets than pilots have ran sorties. And they've taken out some big targets. So this is what I'm doing now, is teaching that to girls and boys. This past year, I was at Ludington Middle Magnet School, which is in Detroit, and I have that on CD also. 31 girls was in my class. Keep in mind the age. What grade do you think they were in? Ludington Middle School, after school program. Within 3 weeks' time, they were on Mondays. And they graduated. Basic Flight Drone Program 1. What age do you think they are? Try 13. Try 11, 12, and 13.
Wow.
Okay? These are girls. Most times you find boys in these classes. These are girls. And they did good. I didn't have to make them come to class. I didn't have to get them to be on time. They beat me to the classroom. They were ready to go. And I showed a video where the girls are flying the paper airplanes. Because they had no concept of flying. So they had to have a target. I was the target. You make a plane, you aim it at me. And you gotta hit me. Oh boy, tell a kid that now? Oh man, that just starts a war. Them child, I had to have 4 teams in that classroom. And they did well. They did well. So.
Now, is that a volunteer program for you?
It's a volunteer program. But what it's doing is this. Because I graduated from the University of Phoenix, now watch this. I back this little piece up. See these little nuggets. I told you it's like a jigsaw puzzle you get to with me. I started Phoenix, University of Phoenix, in the classroom, in Southfield, out at, I'm going back at one more school, Oakland Community College. I did during my interim earlier, around 86, 87, 88 window. And just did TV and arts and entertainment tip ran account out them OCC, the campus, Orchard Ridge campus. And I enjoyed that class, but I didn't continue. I just took a few classes. I always keep my mind going to school, always learning and growing. When I started Phoenix, it was in 1997. They were, I forgot where I first come into them at, but I took the class at Southfield, at where the bacon used to be, Thornapple Valley bacon off 696 and Evergreen. That's where the classes were at. took all my classes there. It's about all of them. And then we did a ceremony at Cobo. And guess when? Remember, I said 1997. When do you think I graduated? You could see, 2002. But watch this. I said something back in 76. My purpose of going in the Army was to do what? To get that GI Bill so I can go to college. That piece of time from 1976 took all the way, June of 2002 to get a bachelor's. Done. University of Phoenix. Guess when I retired? October 2002.
So all that was under the GI Bill? All of your schooling?
Complete. Yes.
Wow.
Mission complete. But it took the entire mission time to get it done. But that was my goal. Remember, that's Army and Air Force combined. It doesn't get any better than that for my lifetime. So that's kind of the way things have been going for me. Little pieces, little nuggets, and schooling. Now what am I doing? Let me add to this. You ever heard of Troops and Teachers program? They're in Pensacola, Florida. They are the ones that hire the veterans that are retired for teachers for the coast, from coast to coast. I've been a part of them since 2002. Nancy Reagan, George Bush's wife, created the Troops and Teachers link. It was one of her programs. I jumped on that once I heard about it. And that's when you can go to Pensacola and pull up Troops and Teachers and San Antonio, then you pull my name up and you'll find that out then. So I've been with them, by the time paper was done, it was 2003, all the way to current. Matter of fact, I got a job offer from them 2 weeks ago to come there and teach at their new cadet program school in Pensacola. I'm that shocked. They said, all the stuff I need to send in and submit for them. They said, my name came up on the register. They want me there for 2012. My wife says, no way. We just bought this house. So I had to turn that job down. It hurts.
Your commanding officer said no, huh?
Yeah, my general said no.
Yeah, that's how you know what.
You said that right. So it's a hard one. I haven't swallowed that pill yet. It's still resonant. I can get her this song. So we gotta find a way to get her. So I can go to Florida. She wants to go to Florida. You know, she's disabled. She's always wanted to go to Florida. Here it is. And guess what it said there? Kissing me. Right outside Orlando. This is getting better than that. Brand new school opened for 2012. And then their flight commander, me, there.
Wow.
So
that would be a nice spot then.
No, it wouldn't. Yes, it would, but no, it wouldn't. Because
you'd spend half your time over in Disney.
You're very right. I love my characters. I would have to unplug so many things here that I'm doing. One of them, the DAV, which my classes start in January, teaching at their center in Berkeley. You can go to the webpage and pull it up, and you'll find my name there with what I'm doing there. So my heart's here in Michigan.
When did you end up getting married then? You missed that along the way.
I knew he was going to bring that up.
Uh-oh.
I gave you a clue why. Watch this. My wife and I met, oh boy, 1987. Actually, at a club. What do guys call clubs? I was just out looking. I wasn't looking for no girlfriend or nothing like that. I just wanted something to do. And I kind of ran into her with her other 3 girlfriends just hanging out. I didn't want to be bothered with them. I just wanted to hang out, just relax my mind from so much going on. And I remember shortly after my dad passed and all that. So I just wanted some idle downtime. And I didn't get it. I ended up running to her, and she kind of knew something was going on. And we talked about it, and things were going on. She was working at Kroger at the time. And she just kept helping me kind of get my mind off some stuff. Just kind of focus and move forward. We've been married 23 years. Tell you anything? So, and now she's disabled from the state of Michigan. We both had similar jobs in the state of Michigan. She's a court docketer, which preps dockets for court. For the state of Michigan for Jennifer Granholm, and she come in rap English and stayed there during Granholm's time period. Me, I was at the warehouse at the print shop, working from 1991, right before Desert Storm, all the way to 2003. There's a printer. I printed the checks for unemployment. I run a system and stuff from that wall to here. 4 different components. Both printer will see here, all the paper. Shoot straight through it, pick that down there. Printing checks.
Yeah, you mentioned being a lithographer. I'm probably the only person you've ever met that knows what that is. That's what my dad did for 50 years.
Lithographer, yeah, I know everything from a calibrated job case to lids and slugs to limb quads and fonts of type and furniture. And I ran a Cluey and a Heidelberg press. That takes you back. And your father probably knew about that.
Well, after our interview, I'll tell you some more stories about that.
There you go.
But and that's what's so interesting, with these interviews, because you learn so much, obviously, about the veteran, and many times we can even share, from life experiences and so forth. And it's just,
I guess
you had quite a variety of experiences, but most of it was in the States. Is that true? Other than
in the States, I've been overseas.
But you were in Europe.
I was in Europe.
And then you came back for your parents being ill, your dad being ill.
Exactly. I had to go back on separate missions. I had to go to London, England. Didn't mean to coin. I tried to. I wanted to get knighted. Didn't work. So I got dayed. I couldn't have been so close to where the Queen was. I met the Pope. Met the Pope in Rome. Those kinds of things. So.
Did you ever advance in rank once you got into the reserve, like the National Guards, or did they kind of keep you where you were?
I stayed there. I had opportunities and I turned them down because my goal then was learning different careers. So promotions and all that, like I just give that up, and I didn't go after another board. I just went right past them. They had boards in front of me. They were trying to get me all the way up to master, and I wouldn't do it because I was too upset from when I wanted to do it. I missed all the other doors, so I said, I can learn this way, and I go through all the other mess. And I can still learn, and I can still do this, and that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. How I ended up going up the officer rank was, like I said, Michigan Civil Air Patrol. But then a major come along from one of my old commanders who's a colonel, who just came back from the Gulf, Colonel Rusher. He has a program for veterans that he honorary promotes them from enlisted to officer to do community service programs like what I'm doing. So he got a hold of another major who got a hold of me and made me the first major because of it. Because he's known me all my enlisted time. He said he should have been a colonel. Because he's known me, he was my commander. And he says, but you missed it. So those people can go what you call honorary because they can't go back and reset the time, they can't reboard them, and they can't do any of that. But you can get promoted honorary and move up from there. And that's what he did. And that's where I got my appointment from, through Michigan Army National Guard. That's why mine was on the Army Guard side. And then from there, I just moved right on up to Lieutenant Colonel, and then moved up to Colonel now, which I have now. And it's all through honorary momentum because that's the way, the only gate I can go now at 57 years old. So that was a way of doing two sides, the enlisted and the officer side. And I'm glad the door opened for that. But I guess it takes time for things to catch up with you later on in life. That they were destined for you. They'll find you. It may not be a regular way, but it gets done. And that's the way I'm an example of that.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I do. I have 2 daughters,
Okay.
and both of them in the military.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Where are they serving, or what are they?
My daughter right now, watch this. My oldest daughter, born in 1979, Miss Yasmin, is sitting in the Coast Guard. She joined April of 2011. Keep in mind, she's not like the military. My first wife, her mother, is retired United States Army. She watched her mother go through the Army. She hated it. She found out I went through the Army and the Guard and the Air Force. She didn't like none of them. She picked the Coast Guard to finish her degree. I haven't got that yet. But somehow I got a funny feeling she copied some of my stuff there. Daughter number 2, born in 1980. One's born in August, which Monique is. My daughter number 2, and I'm born in July. A month apart, a year apart. by the way, I delivered both of them. Yes, I did, from the same doctor at 2 different hospitals. One at Fort Bliss, one at Fort Campbell.
Mm.
I will not forget when daughter number 2 told me, this is 11 years ago, Dad, I'm going in your shoes. No, you're not. There's guy shoes. Can't go in my shoes. You're a girl. So I'm going in the Air Force. I'm trying to think, what was I doing when she told me that? I think I was at work. I was through. My day was just like gone. Because she just zapped everything out of me. I would never guess she hated the military. Literally, no way am I going into anything. And she's still in now. She's at Spain. She's in Magalan, Spain right now. She's been there and she's due for reassignment. She just re-enlisted again for another 6 years. I'm not sure where her new assignment is going. But my daughter at Coast Guard, she's just finished her assignment at the Coast Guard Academy, so her training now. So now she's up for assignment.
You said she's in Maine, is it?
Your
daughter
Coast
in
Guard.
the Coast Guard.
The first one's in the Coast Guard.
Where is she?
She's
located?
at wherever they train at. And I
Yeah.
think it's
Isn't it Connecticut?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Connecticut. That's where she's at now.
I've been there.
She's still there.
I've been there. Yeah.
So you can go to my Facebook page, you can pull the names up, you'll see Yasmin, you see
Exactly.
Monique. Take a look where they
I thought you
assigned.
mentioned something about Maine, and I was kind of.
Well, I went to Bangor, Maine. I think I flew out of there.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
one thing, so that's what kind of stuck in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Bangor.
Yep, that's one of the entrances to the U.S. One of the big spots.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. I drive my car up there.
Traveled that area for 5 years.
So what is the daughter in the Air Force doing?
What is she doing?
Yeah, what's her job in the Air Force?
Same thing I did. She's doing admin and logistics. A little scary. She does radio, television. It was almost she should have been a son. She's followed a lot of the things that I'm doing and she's doing now. And enjoying it and good at it.
That's good.
So,
So when did she join then?
11 years ago.
Okay.
This is 2011.
So-
That puts it 2000.
2000. So she was like 20 when she joined, around that age.
Oh yeah.
Well, she'll probably make a career out of it then. Sounds
Well, when
like.
you get around 11 years and do it retired, you might as well.
Sure.
She said she's following my footsteps. Please don't do that. But she's been blessed and haven't had to go to war yet. She's been able to dodge them.
So are either your children married? Your daughter?
Yeah. Daughter number 1, Yasmin is married to a soldier and he's been in Iraq 4 times that I know of. And survived. I sent him my guardian angels for more. He hasn't been hit yet. He's done well. Now the soldiers are coming home. He'll be coming home shortly.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Daughter number 2. She's married to a soldier, but they didn't work out. He's too playful. Not serious about his child. So she divorced from him as we speak. I say she's following my footsteps. And I'm a firm believer it's not right, it's time to go. And that's what happened to her mom. I stayed in from their young years. She wanted me to stay in the military. I said I'm going to school. I wanted to do that. She wanted me to stay past 84 and not go to college. That's when I got divorced. Because she wanted me to stay and I said no. So she said she's going in. That's when she decided she wanted to go in. So that's how things happen sometimes. So that's what the kids have picked up and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, well, it looks like you really have stayed active after you got out of the service as well, and continuing on with that interest that you've had all your adult life at least, and so forth. So, you got something there that you want to
Well, what I want to find out is if
snippet of or
yeah, let you look at this. As a matter of fact, I even leave this. Let you guys play it later. Okay, it has my resume, has my business card on it, and it has a CD in there. Okay, so you guys get ready. You can play that one. And I'm trying to see. Let me give you another piece of music so you can see. I did bring it with me, but this one I don't want to leave. This is from Troy. Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday a few years ago. I was in Troy. And I led the kids there for a peace walk
Oh, okay.
at their high school.
Troy guy?
You're welcome to look at this, but I didn't take it back home with me. But it's sitting in here. You can pull it up. You can edit it to
I
your...
don't think we can pull it up right now because we're using.
Understood. But you can edit.
Yeah, we just can't do it right now.
Right, but
We
you
don't
can
have-
edit though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to do a transfer to that, and I don't think it's all there. Okay, but Metro Youth Day, I wanted to mention that because that's what I'm a part of. You've never seen Metro Youth Day. You're welcome to look at this. This is the last one, and you'll find my name in here to this event, which I really, really do. And this is a veteran doing this, a deep Air Force veteran. And that's why I've stuck with him since '86. Because he's been very sick this year. He's a good guy. But his heart is this. There's one veteran that really, and you look at all the sponsors. If you just want to see some sponsors on here, it'll raise your eyebrows. But if you can, welcome to look at this program.
Was there anything in particular in your growing up years or in your military service that really fired you up for doing the community service aspect of it?
How do I put this? I would say yes. Now keep in mind, my parents didn't know community service, neither one of them. Neither one. I picked up community service from De La Salle High School in Chicago. I just didn't understand it, because I was too young in high school. But something that the teachers always said, a good friend of mine, Richard Decky, science club, when I was a science club president, he says, always give back to the community. The example of that was another teacher, Mr. Kazan. He was from Saudi. He would pick me up after school. And you know the thing you hear about paternal, that's one way of looking at it. But let me give you a positive side to that. Watch this. Radecki was my science club teacher. Kazan was my algebra and geometry teacher. He made math fun. Radecki made science fun. Those are two classes I'm teaching now. Kazan was the high school intramural coach. There's a third teacher yet. But he picked me up voluntarily to take me home after school. I never gave him gas money. He did this on his own, of his good heart. And I remember, Chicago was very polarized to racism and discrimination. You hear about that all the time. These guys never taught me any of that. They showed me brotherhood and caring from a teacher's side and a mentoring side. But giving back was the deal, the concept of giving back. And that's where that originated. It just didn't make sense. So, as I developed things at Lewis University, I started to understand giving back because of the radio show. And I learned from other people hearing what they're doing. And it's built and built and built and built. And the more things I started to volunteer, now keep in mind, there's other events I volunteer for, Detroit Grand Prix. I've done 5 of those here. Thanksgiving Day Parade, at least it's the same in number. By the way, I did last Grand Prix we had here. They're just community events, programs, and a CERT program. I do this community emergency response team. I just find different things that are vital to a community and just become a part of it. And each one, I guess, push me a little more if that answers the question a little bit. Hands Across America was the biggest that I enjoyed. They had the least amount of support of staffers and got the job done. 1,200 people sitting in a little place called Grand Prairie, which is at Six Flags. And everybody, American Airlines pilots, the flight attendants, the school, because I went to a school there, International Aviation Travel Academy there, to learn reservations and school and dealing with the pilots. The flight, the program, the itinerary, the bed, all that. That's not one of my classes, but I learned it from there. From the pilots, directly from American Airlines. But the teamwork of that stayed with me. So each time the community service events built. And that's why I still enjoy doing that today.
Very interesting.
Okay? Now, these 2 classes here, you can take a look, are my girls. My after-school program. They're right here. So you can actually see if we can pull up what you get to. You can pull that up. I'll let you look at it. I have to take these back. You can't keep these. But you can at least see them. My promo for Air Force and Army commercials on. Oh, I did Air Force commercials too. I showed it. And it's on here. So you get to see those once we shut down, if you've got enough time to do that. I definitely want you to see this one from Troy. Because you can see how I did with the kids at the high school, which were awesome. It was right before Coretta passed. Right before she was sick then. And I had just met her. She came out to Troy for an event. And I had just met her. I was at the bank right off of 16 Mile Road, Metro Parkway, and Crooks. The one bank that's right there, it's the fire department. I worked at that bank, Sterling Bank. That's what it was called then. I was the security manager there.
Really?
Yeah.
I live real close to there. I live on Square Lake in Livernois.
I worked there. Remember the tornado that came hopped right over there? I was there when that happened. Problem is, we had a fire alarm. Same time they had the dog and tornado warning. How do you tell people go in and come out? You know, I had that headache to make. I will never forget that place. All 7 floors of that. And I was at the very top up there. Lovely, great building. I love it, but it was a pain in the neck. That's why I saw my first wild animal. There was a beaver out there because there's a little creek right there. And guess who I saw out there then? And they didn't believe me. A leopard. And guess what they found out there? Later on, the leopard. That's the one that's been running around. That's where he was at, back in that area. There's no leopard back. Yes, there is. I saw him, and I know what I look like. You see teeth, you know what they look like. And that's where they were out that back area. All back there behind that bank, and that's where they found the other one at. All back there. Okay.
Wow.
That's still because we chilled. I was that close to a leopard, and they didn't believe me. Okay. So that just, you know, now the audio sounds, yeah. Let me put one on here real quick. Just in case you just want a snapshot of just to hear some of it. And what I enjoy about radio, it's always unique. Let me make sure my power's on here. Make sure I'm plugged in. Yes. I don't see it plugged in here, so it'll be.
She is. I saw both of you on the program, Kelly and Company, I'm correct, just recently. And she mentioned how busy a little bit that the two of you can be. And talking to her by phone, I haven't had a chance to meet her yet. I have heard that she has quite a busy lifestyle.
She's going to even be that much more busy when my brother starts school this September.
Yeah.
So she's getting him involved in a lot of things, taekwondo and piano lessons, and so she's going to be running even more so, I think, with him than she did with me when I was little.
Well, we've seen the final product of the daughter, of Carol. We see you reaching newer goals day by day as I progress. Interesting about that, you had some plans down the road for a center here in Detroit.
Yes.
The Art Center.
I'm going to call it the Gift Institute of Fine Arts.
That's great.
And I come up with another name by then. I would like for it to feature all areas of the arts. And of course I want to start the first one here, but then go elsewhere to other cities and different states and start one in an urban area. And each center might not feature the same exact things because it will depend on what instructors I could get in there. But I would like for the base to be music, dance, and art, sculpting and painting, and to give the young people a different avenue. But they will all have a vocational program, tutorial services for after school. You can come get help with math, English, and science, things like that. And serve as not necessarily a head-on counseling, but therapeutic because in the nature of it, because the program would be geared to help them build self-esteem and showing the young people that come to it that they are winners indeed, and that they have the potential to achieve anything they set their mind to by helping them achieve their little goals, little ones, many little ones, and then getting up to some bigger ones. And essentially, so they're really confident in the fact that they know whatever they set their mind to, they can achieve, especially with God.
Amen. And I know you use in every almost subject matter that you say, even when he's right on the television right away, first thing you say, you give all the glory to God.
Can we?
Amen.
So now, who was on that? Who were you interviewing on that tape?
Take a look at this picture. See if
Well,
you
why don't
recognize
we
it.
turn the tape off so we can get your?
Okay.
Okay.
Take a look at this picture. I'm gonna try it. I can see it. I can see it too. Why don't you set her up and I'm gonna square you right in. Hold your shot right there.
Yeah.
How you like that? Because I'm used to doing this on a monitor, take a look at that shot. Is that better for you?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see you have reflection on your screens. I really can't tell. Take a look at that lady right in the middle. Real tight. That's from Martha Reeves.
Yeah.
From Motown. Now, look in the back. Those are Tuskegee Airmen that were with me. Who do you see on the left there? That's me. I'm with them at the Motown Museum. We went there to visit. Now, take a look at there. You find two young ladies behind me. Behind that one guy with that white turtleneck. That's a flight instructor. These ladies flew in from, are you ready? New York. These are the girls that went coast to coast in a Cessna. Their mother is right to the right of them. How do you think these girls are? They're on Channel 4. They're only 14.
My goodness.
Okay. They met up with me to do a story on flying with the Tuskegee Airmen at Motown Museum. That's why I brought this picture in so you can see it. This picture here are our cadets. See them? You can take a look at that one. Alright, and you see me there. Bob Tillman, there's Mr. Mills, good friend of mine, Tuskegee Airmen. These are at another school. This was the Toyota school. I was out there with them for a ceremony. And this is the team that I was teaching. So, and I have many, many more pictures. I just didn't bring them, but I wanted you to see these directly. Bob's with the triple nickel. And you see it on the back of here. Bob Tillman with the green jacket. He's with the triple nickel. We all marched we used to march in the parade. They marched this time in the parade. Bob was in bed and Mr. Mills was sick from Tuskegee Airmen. I have a little bit of the Tuskegee Airmen here in Detroit. Just attached to them, not assigned to them, or just to help them out for a few months. Learn about them and spend some time with them. Well, Martha,
You weren't in the Rangers, right?
no, just the 101st Airborne, Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
That's very nice.
Okay, so this is my uniform.
Excellent.
Thought you wanted to see that. That's one of my air drops. You heard Carol talking about her school. She went to Plymouth Community Church here in Detroit, which is on Horn in Detroit, and Grand River. That's where she attends church at. But it was all, she talked to me while she was on the plane. Live feed in, and then she came to the studio and did the show with me live. That was just one of them. Was the copy clear? Was that good? You want something else? Or
I
no?
think we have to
Wait a minute.
We
just wind up the.
yeah, we got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wind up a little bit.
Okay, so that's one of them. Let me find you another one. This has to do, like I said, the DVD is more fun once you watch those when you get a chance to see that. Mason, you ever heard of Mason? John Mason,
Yeah.
very known broadcaster. Lynn Briggs, one of the young DJs he was training. I went to their station in WJLB. This is two masters for that show. And I interviewed him live. This guy is the master of voices. This little snippet here, and I'll let you hear the interview in the studio. The music you hear in the background is live. Inside we're talking between the segues. Let me...
Strong Songs WJLB, Mason and Company, good morning. I said a little earlier this morning, well, should Jasper, come on in here and say what you want to tell us.
Listen.
I just want to say that we are toasting the Boston show. Now, why would you toast the Celtics after what they did to the Pistons? Well, listen to the close one. We toast them because it's the last coach they're going to get. The Lakers going to run away with it all. If they file toast, Larry Bird and all that, they have them on the first two. You want to do this or you want me to do it? Well, you stand there, go ahead and finish. Well, good. 10:52, we'll come back and wrap up the entire morning.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's one person doing the voices. That's Mason.
Oh.
You don't hear him do this anymore. I'm glad I caught this. While he did it live for me in the studio, because he's the master of it. he taught me how to throw your voice and do certain things live. I told myself I watched George Kirby years back, Frank Fontaine, and many others that were just comedians and how they entertain. This is another piece of the radio because that's the way I record. And so he was kind of teaching me his skill live as he was doing it. And now, so that's why I wanted you to hear that piece there. And, segue. And then outtakes and all that. The mic is over here, and it's kind of hard for me to get. This is all off air. All of us in there talking. Okay,
So this, so you were producing that?
Yes.
Okay.
For Oakland Community College, a
Mhm.
radio program called the Arts and Entertainment Show with Ted Rancombe. He's out at Orchard Ridge campus. I don't know if you ever heard the name or not. But he did the Arts and Entertainment program, which come out of OCC. So he told me, go ahead and find me a story. Okay. So I went to JLB, picked it up, and it was on Arts and Entertainment the next couple weeks. And that's why I kept 2 raw footages in case I lose some of the tracking. Because those VHSs those days are not good. So,
Reported in the curb lanes. So allow yourself some extra time to arrive at your destination this morning and use caution while traveling. Hi, inside there's flooding and unfolds from
this young lady, Susan Hawkins, very known news broadcaster, was at GLB. I haven't heard her since she left the station.
Dawn Mars on the line from AAA. And she's got a traffic update for us again this
Nice
morning.
and clean.
We've got some wet spots out there. Don't go speeding. Stop!
Sound different from this one, doesn't it?
No, no, sit like.
I was doing what you call generation cleanup
Good
then.
morning, Nathan. We do have some websites out there also.
See, you don't hear none of that background, nice and clean.
So allow
That's
yourself
right in the
some extra
studio.
time to arrive at your destination this morning and
I'm
use
perfecting
caution
my
while
skill,
traveling.
as I said,
Hi,
live
inside there's
on
flooding and
location.
unfolds
This is
from
real actual stuff. It's not edited or touched or anything. It's raw data. So it helped me to learn my skill better by learning from the folks directly.
Right.
JLB is right in Detroit. I do everything in Detroit. I'm sorry, I'm a Detroiter. But that's what works for me. All right, now.
All right, Dawn, we'll check back in about 10 minutes.
I'm going to give you my open on this one and then this one, just so you hear what my opens sound like.
WJ.
And maybe,
Go ahead.
we got, maybe we can kind
10
of wrap.
minutes.
I think we
Okay.
gotta start, we've gotta wind up, sir.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we're running out, gonna run out of tape.
Time.
Yeah, and then like I said, you can edit once you do your editing for, so that maybe I just send it back to you.
All 1 through 12, I'm just, everybody was just a mess. About 9:20, we were still
Different
in
radio station.
trying to collect ourselves before it was time to go. But you know, he's a lot like
This is a friend of mine who's with the Seabees, not Seabees, the naval team does like a support to the Seabee. I'm trying to think of their name, and they don't hear much recognition from him. But he's a veteran. But they didn't get a whole lot of recognition. There's a seaman, North Shoreman, I think they call him. That's what he is. And he's one of my partners on the show. Okay, that's it. I don't think I'll wrap up.
Well, very, very good. And we could probably talk for another couple of hours, but I mean, we enjoyed our visit today, and appreciate your service, what you able to contribute, and thank you for your service
Thank
to
you.
the country.
Had quite a variety of experiences.
21 years. What's that?
He had quite a variety of experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching
Outstanding.
them now. I'm teaching my skills,
that's
giving
good.
them back into the community.
And,
That's what I'm doing at the
work-
youth center.
Working with the youth and so on. So anyway, again, thanks a lot, Lee.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Okay.